Hey everybody, MorbTron here. Today I want to go in depth into what is actually going to be happening to shotguns come next season. Season 10, Season of the Worthy, has now been confirmed to be. So, we're in a tribute hall here, and I'm just going to pop the little thing up on screen now if you want to pause and read all of the bullet points, but I'll be reading over the changes for you right now. So the major first thing is target acquisition, which is bullet magnetism. For those that don't know Bungie lingo, and what bullet magnetism is if you pull the trigger and shoot at an enemy, drag doesn't really work because it's just one shot, but you'll see there I don't do any precision damage, and unfortunately bullet magnetism does not work on tribute hall enemies, but I can kind of explain it anyway. So right now, let's say you're in the Crucible and you pull the trigger, what'll happen is if you're shooting at an enemy, your bullets will tend to drift towards the target's crit zone, this being the Vandal's head, a Guardian's head. If we're looking at this Ogre over here, it's shiny, glowing forehead. But that is going to be changing for regular, non-slug shotguns coming next season. The way that they're changing it is they're changing it so the magnetism is towards center mass. And the reason that they're doing it is for consistency issues, because right now, let's say you shoot at a Guardian in the Crucible, and not all the time, but sometimes, the bullet magnetism will grab your shot package, and will actually push it up towards the Guardian's head. And you might not think that that's a bad thing, but a Guardian's head is a lot smaller of a target than their torso, so a lot of your pellets end up missing. And that's where weapon inconsistencies stem from, so they're changing that so the weapons become more consistent and more deadly. But they are reining in a couple other things as well, and there is a change that they haven't really explained too much yet either. But the second bullet point down, previously target acquisition would cause the player's spread to deviate from intended aim vector, causing most of the spread to miss. That's basically what I just said. It's just dev speak, mumbo jumbo. They're changing it so that shotguns are more consistent with their aim assist, pulling the aim assist down towards center mass rather than crit zone. And the other thing that has a lot of dev speak in it is the third bullet point down. Cone angle is now adjusted on a per sub-archetype basis and is no longer adjusted by the range stat. And what they mean by cone angle is basically the spread of your shotgun pellet. So I have my Mindbender's Ambition here, and it has this neat little thing called full choke. And I'll kind of show a good representation of projectile spread on a shotgun. So what full choke does is if you hip fire, but then you aim down sights and do the same thing, you'll see the spread on the top shot is a little bit tighter, and that's what full choke does. Now, what you'll notice here is that that's still a decent amount of spread, and I'm about, I would say, 9 meters away, 8 or 9 meters away from that wall. But if we also then go to my Parcel of Stardust, which is a different archetype, so it has more range, because right now, the cone of a shotgun spread is adjusted via its range. So if I aim down sights with my Parcel, and then aim down sights with my Mindbenders, you'll see the Parcel of Stardust has a tighter shot package than the Mindbenders. And the reason for that is its range stat. And now, I'm not saying that should be changed, but what Bungie will be doing next season is they'll be changing it so that aggressive frames have a different cone than a lightweight frame. And I would expect and assume that something like a Retold Tale, which is a precision frame that is not a slug, right? There are precision frames that are a slug shotgun, but this one does have pellet spread to it. I would assume that something like a precision frame would have the tightest spread to it, and something like an aggressive frame would have the widest spread. But that's only an assumption, as Bungie has not told us any details about what that is actually going to be like. And for the final bullet point, we're actually going to go into a private Crucible match. Alright, and as far as the other change, the final change, where aiming down sights is no longer going to affect the range of shotguns, to kind of show off what's actually going to be happening there, I'm in a private PvP match with Ducky, a little test environment, to show you what that change is actually going to do. Which, if the change is going to do exactly what it says it's going to do, it's not going to do much, actually. So, to help with this test, I've got a Darcy, which I'll explain in a minute why that's important. But I've got my Mindbender's Ambition here. Now, it's not a god roll, but it's a pretty above average roll. And I would say that it's going to be the person that's W King with the Mindbenders, that's mainly a Mindbender's Ambition in the Crucible. This is probably going to be pretty close to the roll that they have. It's got a range masterwork, it's got full choke, and it's got light mag, which is not anywhere close to the best magazine stat or magazine perk you'd want on the gun. But this one has exactly 50 range, and it's to be pretty good benchmark because it is the most used shotgun currently, especially on PC. So showing off the differences here is probably better than using something that's not so used, maybe like a Retold Tale or a Perfect Paradox. Although those two weapons are usable, Mindbender's much more popular. Now I also have a parcel of Stardust with me because it has Slide Shot. Now I'm not going to be testing Slide Shot because it is impossible to actually gauge what exact range you are at when you fire the weapon, because to use Slide Shot, you're sliding. And when you're sliding, it means you're moving, and you can't really gauge your exact range when you're moving because we don't have a shooting range in the game that tells you exact things like that. I wish we did. That'd be a good test environment, but for now, this is the best that we can do. This one does have more range, but since it is a different archetype, it does less damage. So, why is a Darcy important? Well, a Darcy is going to show me exactly how far away I am from my target. And right now, Ducky is 8 meters away from me. You see at the bottom left square of the targeting reticle there, it says 008. As I get forward, or as I go closer to her, it goes to 7, and then 6, and we're going to test at 7 meters for this. And now this 7 meters, for people that play on console, probably think that's more than 7 meters. That's not exactly the range that I think it is, but what is actually changing that for you is the FOV, or field of view, which you can change on PC. Now I wish that consoles had the hardware to support changing FOV, but a console's FOV, both PlayStation and Xbox, are both set at 70. And if I set mine to 70, this is probably what you are more used to seeing when you're 7 meters away from a target on console. It's still the same 7 meters away, it's just that with field of view changing, you see more of what's on each side of your Guardian's view, but because of that, it actually pushes back how far away the camera is, so it feels farther away. You feel like you're running faster, but actually, it's just kind of a skewed field of view. And I could crank it up even farther. I can go to 105, but I personally have mine set at 100. So there we go. Still the same distance, 7 meters away. And I've got my Mindbenders right here. So what we'll do here is we'll just give Ducky a quick shot from a hip fire, and you'll see it'll bring her down to about 1 hit. You know, hand cannon would definitely clean up and get the elimination. Then we're going to aim down sights and see the difference in range there. Presto, it actually got the elimination. So that's kind of the difference in range right there. It's not much. And if I go back to 8 meters as Ducky comes back here, we'll reset to 8, and you'll kind of see that even aiming down sights, it's not going to be enough. So let's go 7 to 8. There we go. We're aiming down sights, and not enough. Now, shotguns do have inconsistencies in them right now, with the target acquisitions bringing the shot package up farther close to the head, making some shots actually miss. So we'll just do the due diligence here and do this a couple times. There you see, you really saw how it brought some of the shot off target there, as some even went up over her head, and I wasn't even aiming in that direction. But again, let's do it again. That time they say it's center mass, but it just was not enough to get the job done. So let's actually switch over to my parcel of Stardust here, and it should do about the same when I'm actually aiming down sights, because the parcel does have more range, but it just does not hit as hard. So that's kind of the difference in archetypes, I guess you could say there. But the parcel does have, this one specifically does have the added benefit of doing a little bit more precision damage because it does not have full choke, but also has slide shot, which gives it a little bit more range. But like I said, not going to be testing that. But there you have it. I mean, there's the difference in range right there. So if we go back to 7, let's reset to 7. There we go. Now if I pull out my Mindbenders, again, it brought a lot of the shots off target and up over Ducky's head, because shotguns are inconsistent at best right now. And there we go. Now that it didn't do that, that was a kill, and the special ammo, for some reason, floats up to me off the platform. Interesting. But, yeah. So, the changes to shotguns, right? They're a-changin', and I'll be covering fusion rifles within the next couple days as well. Just hunting for a role that's been eluding me, just so I can show off the damage potential currently of some fusion rifles that will be going away. So it's a useless role as soon as the season starts, but it's not a useless role for the video. But that being said, shotguns are going to become more consistent, although they might get a small hit to their range stat. Very, very small, and not even to the stat, but just aiming down sights no longer affecting shotguns. And we might see a better, and I wouldn't even say better, more of an effect on shotguns that have a different sight to them. Just the Parcel and Mindbenders share the same model, minus some runes, of course, on the Mindbenders. But because of that, their aim down sights zoom is the same. If you have more zoom on a shotgun, they will be more greatly affected by that change, but most shotguns have just iron sights anyways. I think actually all of them do, even Chaperone. But they might have slightly different levels of aim down sights zoom depending on what iron sights are actually on them. So, that being said, the change isn't actually going to be that great as far as getting hit in the range department goes, but where we will see the most difference, maybe, is in the other changes, especially the cone angle being adjusted per sub-archetype of shotgun, and that not being attached to the range stat anyway. But that is it for this video, so if you liked it, you want to see more deep dives into changes like this, hit the like button for me. I would greatly appreciate it. If you are new here, subscribe for more Destiny 2 content, but do not forget to have a good day, everybody, and I will catch you all next time.